Hi, this instructional video is about solving quadratic equations by factoring. But in order to do that, we have to understand or touch briefly on what factoring is. So I'm going to teach you a secret here. I'm going to tell you how teachers come up with the questions for you to factor. So here's how it's done. Teachers just randomly choose binomials. For example, they just say, oh, well, I feel like, x plus 3. And I think how about times the quantity of x minus 7. And here's what they do. They go, oh, well, I'm going to use the FOIL method. I'm going to distribute this first term to the first of the second parentheses and to the second. So I get x times x is x squared. And x times negative 7 is negative 7x. Well, what happens is the second term says, me too, do me also. So you take the second term and you, well, let me do that. So you go 3 times x, which is, well, 3x, and 3 times negative 7, which is, negative 21. Well, that's what the teachers do. And they all know that when they do a distributive property of the two binomials, you have to combine the middle terms. So negative 7x and 3x, they become negative 4x. And everything else, they write it. And this is how they come up with the problem. So when the students come in the morning, they go, boys and girls, I would like you to factor this trinomial. And the kids go crazy. So with that quick review of how to factor, let's talk about solving the quadratics by factoring. Okay, so here is a piece of paper that I prepared. Solve the equation. So we're going to solve it by factoring. And here's how it's done. We take this trinomial, and I'm going to draw parentheses, and I ask myself, what times what would give me x squared? And that's going to be x and x. And then I go, what times what could possibly give me an 8? Then on the side, I'm going to list out the multiples. Well, 1 times 8 is a possibility, and 2 times 4 is a possibility. And that's about it, I think. Okay? And then finally, you ask yourself, if you were to combine these two product numbers, add or subtract, is there a way to add or subtract them so you will get a negative 2? And you could see right away, the only thing you could actually combine or add or subtract is 2 and 4, where the 4 has to be a negative, because 2 minus 4 gives you negative 2, just like here. So you take 2 and say plus 2, and you say negative 4 minus 4. And this is the factor form of this trinomial of the equation. Now you're going to solve it by using a thing called zero product property. What that means is you take each of those binomial, for in this case, x minus 4, and set that to 0. And take the second binomial and set that to 0 as well, and you solve for x. So in this case, you take the additive inverse of minus 4, so add 4 to both sides on this one. So you could see that one of the solutions for this quadratic equation is 4. And for this guy, you subtract the 2 to both sides, and the solution for that will be negative 2. And sometimes these are called not only solutions when you're graphing them, there's also sometimes known as the x-intercepts. And also they're sometimes called the roots of the function. And they all mean the same thing. Now why don't you try this one over here? Okay, so you said, all right, just like before, I will draw the parentheses. And then I'm going to ask myself, what times what is an x squared? X and x. Then what are the multiples that could possibly become if you multiply a 3? Well, that's 1 and 3, and that's the only choice this time. And what can I do with these multiples, the products, the numbers, to get a positive 2? Well, in this case, the 1 has to be negative and the 3 has to be positive. So when you add them together, you get a 2. So you take one of the numbers, -1, and put it over here. And take the 3 plus and put it over there. And that becomes the factor form of this trinomial of the equation. So now you're going to use a zero product property and you're going to set it to 0. And finally, this one, you're going to solve for x by adding 1 to both sides of the equation. So x is equal to 1. That's one of the roots. And you subtract the 3 here. So x is equal to -3. There you have it. Those are the two solutions that will satisfy this equation.